Hi everyone, I'm Valerie Ibarra. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I want to share what B12 is and why it's so important for vegans. Let's go. So let's get straight into it. What is B12? So B12 is essentially created by bacteria, and it is found in manure, unsanitized water, and in our soil. So because this unsanitized water and manure tend to land in our soil, that is how we obtain it. So if you have this beautiful garden of vegetables and all sorts of yummy fruits and all of these different things, and you get to eat straight from the source. So you pick that carrot straight from the ground, you eat it, you then take on this bacteria, this B12, which is great for your body. Now, the reality is that we no longer eat that way. So most vegans and all of us don't eat this way anymore. We don't eat straight from the source. So we aren't obtaining that B12. Now, even non-vegans obtain their B12 by eating animals. Because these animals eat straight from the ground, they eat that soil, they take in that B12. Those animals then serve as the middlemen for B12 for humans. So that is how non-vegans obtain their B12. Now, again, the reality is that these animals even don't get to eat the way that we used to eat and the way that they used to eat, right? None of us are eating straight from the soil, even when it comes to livestock, right? Livestock, they are given feed, and that feed sometimes is not fortified with B12, sometimes it is, and that means that they take on B12 by fortified food. Some of them even take shots of B12, which is so interesting to me. When I learned that, I was like, what? Like, it's such a different world we live in, right? But they take shots of B12, and that is how humans who eat animals then take on that B12. Now, because we now live in such a different world where things are triple washed, we use pesticides, our soil has all sorts of erosion to it. There's all sorts of different things that now happen before we get to eat this food that makes it so much harder for us to obtain the optimal levels of B12. So why is B12 so important? So B12 is very important for our health because it aids in the creation of our red blood cells. It essentially, to give you a picture, keeps them nice and fit and gives them that energy and just keeps them going. So a healthy red blood cell is going to be small and round, and it's able to just do all its thing, go through your body and, get your brain clarity and all sorts of different things that gets you going through the day. When you have low levels of B12, that red blood cell can become enlarged and lethargic, and then it no longer has that energy to get, your cells and everything moving. Now, having low levels of B12 also causes fatigue, it can cause depression, it can cause anemia, and all sorts of negative impacts to your body. Now, I am not a nutritionist or a healthcare expert by any means, but I do know that B12 is very important for these things because I'm a bit of a nerd and I like to research things, right? Like, that's okay, I'll embrace it. I like to learn all sorts of different things. And when I learned about this, I was very, very impressed in learning this because I had never ever talked about B12 prior to becoming vegan. And I was shocked because I was actually experiencing a lot of the things that showed that I was having low B12. Now, I really, really recommend that you go take a blood test to figure out if you are low in B12 or not because it's so important. And for me, having low levels of B12 really did cause this fatigue and made me not want to be vegan anymore. It just made me feel lethargic. I didn't have any energy. And as soon as I learned the importance of B12 and a B12 supplement, I honestly felt so much better. I even went to do a blood test after taking all my B12 supplements because my mom and all the research I was reading was saying, hey, like, you need to take B12. B12 is important for vegans. And my mom's so sweet. She would call me and be like, Valerie, are you taking your B12? Like, I heard about it. You got to take your B12. And I was like, yes, mom, I'm taking it. So I went to get my blood test just to make myself feel more confident about my health. And I learned that I was perfectly fine in my levels of B12 because I was supplementing in it. Really, the only thing I was low in was vitamin D. So how do you take B12 if it's not easily found in our foods anymore? And that isn't the case. It's not that it's not easily found in our foods anymore. It just isn't as easy as it was back in the day because we're not eating straight from the source. But it is fortified in our cereals, in our milks. There's all sorts of vegan cheeses and all sorts of different vegan foods, like nutritional yeast, for example, that is fortified with B12. And it's just super easy to eat these items. They're delicious and I really enjoy them. But a way that I like to make sure that I get my optimal levels of B12 is through a supplement. I love taking my B12 supplement. It is delicious. I take it every single morning and it's super cute because whoever gets to the supplements first, like Michael sometimes gets there first, depending on, who wakes up earlier. And it's just cute to like remind each other, hey, did you take your supplements today? Hey, did you take it? And B12 is our favorite because it's chewable and it tastes like lemon. It just feels like you're having candy in the morning. And I mean, I'm not a big candy person, but I really enjoy taking that one. So it's just as easy as that. And there's sorts of patches you can take. There's even vapes of B12. You can also inject it and all sorts of different ways to take B12. Now, I highly, highly recommend that you go to your primary physician and figure out if you are low in B12, or even ask them, hey, you know my body, you know what it is that I need or what I lack. So which B12 supplement do you recommend for me? Because some people have a harder way to obtain B12, right? Some of us can get it very easily, some of us cannot. And your physician is going to be able to explain that to you better than I will be able to explain that because I am not a physician, just the nerd, like I mentioned. So definitely get that checked. That is my short little synopsis of what B12 is, why it's important for vegans, and the types of supplements that there are. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it can be a little boring to share educational things, but it is very important. For me, it was a life changer when I started taking my B12 as a vegan, because prior to that, I did not feel well. And I don't want you to go through that, right? Like, I want you to feel good at all times. I mean, it's not a perfect world. It's okay when we don't always feel good, but in the long run, right? I want you to feel good. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this. I'm gonna be sharing some fun recipes in the next videos. I bought some vegan tuna today. I'm so excited to try that. And I'm even gonna make some cauliflower chicken wings. My dad loves that recipe. He's been requesting it because he has a head of cauliflower at the house and he's excited to try it. So I'll be sharing that with y'all. And yes, please subscribe to my channel. It means the world to me when you support me. And please leave a comment below of whatever you feel like sharing with me. I want it to be anything, right? Like maybe your favorite B12 supplement or a recipe that you want to see. And I can't wait to see you for the next videos. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, y'all.